Hi, my name is Mike Forster from Socialist Alternative in England, Wales and Scotland. I'm talking today about two significant disputes which have taken place in the UK over the last 3 months. The first of which was in Manchester in the northwest of England, where bus drivers gathered in the trade union Unite took decisive strike action over just over 9 weeks of indefinite strike action in protest against their employer. The employer had imposed a tactic known as fire and rehire, which in effect sacks the entire workforce and then invites them to sign up on worse terms and conditions or lose their job. This is a tactic that's been used ruthlessly by British employers since the outbreak of the pandemic, and unfortunately too many trade unions have signed up to these new terms and conditions rather than see their workers lose their jobs. But on this occasion, the bus drivers chose to fight back, and once they chose to take industrial action, they received massive support from the local labour and trade union movement in Manchester, but in fact from all over the country and indeed from all over the world. Whatever the company tried to do, the bus drivers would continue with their strike action, and it spread so that all bus services in Manchester were in effect closed down. Ultimately, it was the company that lost, and the workers were told as a result of the strike that one, all of them would be re-engaged on their original terms and conditions, and any driver that had been disciplined during the dispute, those charges will be dropped. In reality, the company has said all hire and refire tactics are now dropped. This is a very significant victory because other travel companies, both bus and rail, were watching this dispute with the intention of at a later stage introducing it themselves and forcing workers to adopt worse terms and conditions. It sends out a message to employers and workers alike that if they stand together and fight, they can win. The second dispute involved a member of Socialist Alternative, Louise Lewis, who is also an education union rep in her school. Louise was suspended by her head teacher on the 1st of October last year. She had been pressing the school and the head teacher to implement COVID guidelines, but he was refusing to engage with the trade union, not following guidelines and putting her members and the health and safety of the wider school community at risk by refusing to implement those guidelines. When Louise challenged him, he decided to suspend her from work on the 1st of October and introduced charges against her, numbering almost 20, and he was seeking to have her dismissed. An immediate campaign of solidarity was launched in the town, as well as nationally. Messages of support and protest flooded into the school, as well as to the employer, demanding that Louise be reinstated. But it was the decisive action of her members who took strike action finally in April and May, which forced the school to back down. So complete was the strike action, together with a huge protest outside the school, that the school was shut to staff and pupils, forcing the head teacher to concede that he couldn't run the school without his union members, and the disciplinary process that followed found that Louise should be reinstated, and she now will return into school with her head held high. Both these disputes show something very significant. When you fight, you can win. If you don't fight, you will always lose. And this is a very important lesson that Socialist Alternative members will be taking to the wider labour and trade union movement. Thank you for all your support throughout both these disputes. Our victory is your victory. Forward to workers' victory, unity and socialism.